Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going through a full review of the GAN 356 Air UN Cubicle Edition. I did my first impressions of this and it was definitely an impressive cube. Since then I have gone through, all of the different variations, different colors of, springs. I've lubed it. I've actually lubed it with this here, which is the new DNM 37 from Cubicle Labs. It's a very, very good lube. I really recommend it. It's basically a Maru replacement, and I will make a full video on this as well, testing it with different types of puzzles and showing you what the difference is. And I also lubed the core of this with Cubicle Speedy. All right, so is this going to be my new main? I knew about 2 days after I started setting it up that it would be, and it is. I'm getting very, very good times with this. I've gone through all the different types of springs. I wasn't a fan of a lot of them. The only ones I was really a fan of, in honesty, was the yellow and the white. And I've chosen white to put in here. So as you can see, I got the white spring in there. So I found with the yellow springs, which is the white and yellow, the only two I really liked. The yellow springs, I didn't really like it at any tension. It just kind of felt like it was a bit wobbly, kind of deforming a little bit. I'd tighten it more and then it would be too tight. And the thing is, I found that with any spring, if you loosen it a little bit too much and you start doing just U moves like this, it's almost like you barely need to do any movement and it would literally just do a 360 all the way around. Like it almost felt like it didn't even feel like there was tension on there. And then you tighten it just a little bit more and it was too tight. And that's what I felt with a lot of these springs. But the white ones seem to be doing it pretty well for me. So I stuck with those. Now the corner cutting on this thing is really, really good. As you guys know, GANS does a really, really good job with their puzzles to make, especially reverse corner cutting, effortless. But I actually tighten this more than I usually would. So, I mean, yeah, it'll cut 45 degrees, but it does take a lot of force in order for me to do that. And if I go a little further, it takes even way more force to do it, which is unusual for me because usually the way I like them tensioned is it's just going to cut easily like butter any way you cut it. Pun intended. But with this one, I found that I needed to tighten it up a little bit more. And it's definitely helped me with my algorithms and, just my turning in general. I've never tightened a cube this much, so it took a bit to get used to, but I find that I'm actually becoming better. My turning is more accurate with a tighter tension, so I actually really, really enjoy that. Just like with any GANS 356 puzzle, the Air, whatever, you can corner twist it with your fingers, but I've never got it in a solve, so it's not an issue at all. Tensioning this thing can be a bit of a pain, I will say, because you can't really judge how far you've cranked it. It's more like you kind of have to just tighten it as far as you can, and then back off, half turn each side, test it, back off each side, test it again. It's very difficult if you don't do it that way to get even tensions across the entire thing. Now when it comes to the magnets, at first, remember I said, well, you can feel them if you go slow, and then I showed you that it'll jump over and then correct itself. The magnets will help that happen, but you don't really feel it during solving. Well, it has changed a little bit. I definitely do feel it while I'm solving now. It definitely has a bumpy feeling to it, a little bit more pronounced than it was in my first impressions, but I was already used to that from the Weilong GTS M from Cubicle Labs, which was my main before this. So even though the magnets are not as strong in this one as in the Cubicle Labs products, you definitely still do feel them. Anyways, guys, let's look at some solves. I know you guys see me solve 3x3 all the time, but it's more just for me to continue talking and not sit here going like this. And it's cool to just be able to solve in front of camera anyways. But also, I'm using my new camera to film this. So do you guys see a quality difference at all? I think the colors pop a little bit more. The contrasts are really nice. Let me know your opinion in the comment section below on what you think of the new camera quality. So when I said earlier that I knew 2 days after I got this puzzle that it would be my new main, that doesn't mean that I didn't question it before that. I mean, in those 2 days, that was when I was doing all the spring swapping, all that kind of stuff. I wanted to get that done and set it up how I like it right away. That way I still had days and days ahead of myself to really play with the puzzle and get a really good feel for it for this review. But in those 2 days, there was really mixed emotions, to be honest, because it was okay out of the box. It was actually really good out of the box. But the springs I knew weren't for me. But as I was going through all of the different types of springs and trying different tensions and all that kind of stuff, I'd feel let down by some springs and then pick back up by other springs. So it was really like a trial and error. And at one point, I think it was the beginning of the second day when I was going through more springs, because I didn't just go through each of the springs once. I went through them a couple of times each, because it doesn't take long to swap them. But yeah, there was a time when I was just like, you know what? This puzzle is just not as good as a regular Gans Air. And it wasn't until I put the clear ones in, because the clear ones were actually what I tried last, because that's what Phil uses and that's what he recommended for me. So I decided to just do that one last. And it turns out that it worked out perfectly. It took all that insecurity away that this might not be my main. I mean, it just worked out absolutely perfectly. But there was a lot of trial and error and mixed emotion while setting it up. And you may go through that too. I'm not sure. Alright guys, so my final opinion on this, obviously like I said in the beginning, is that it is my main. I do highly recommend this. Now it is a pretty pricey cube at $47.37 on the Cubicle.us, but you are getting a lot of options. I mean, if you're a fan of GANs, and if that's not the option, you have to buy that separately. If you are a fan of GAN products, there's no way that you're gonna, with all of these options, you're gonna get a good cube. It may take some time for you to figure it out, which one's the best, and find your tensions and lubing and all that kind of stuff. But if you're a fan of the GANs 356 Air and you want to check out magnetic puzzles, then this is definitely the one for you. And with all of these options, you are definitely going to find something that works for you. Now keep in mind, yes, of course, the price is high, obviously, because the magnets, the work involved in putting this thing together, as well as you're paying for a lot of springs you're probably never going to use. That's one of the, I guess, the downfalls of it. But I mean, who knows? Maybe, you know, as you get better and faster, you know, this cube all of a sudden just doesn't really seem like it's working for you too much. Well, now you've got all these springs to swap out again, and maybe try, and you can make this cube, you know, right to your speed at that point in time. So it's something to think about. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.